What's up, guys? It's Jordan from Fighting for My Voice. I hope everyone's having a great day. I have missed talking to you guys so much. In this video, we are going to be talking about how to promote speech within people with apraxia of speech. If you may not know me, I don't expect you to know me just right off of the bat. I'm not that relevant, but my name is Jordan, and I am an apraxia, mental health, disability, and IEP advocate. I advocate for people with disabilities, and I'm a person that grew up with apraxia of speech. I've lived with apraxia of speech my whole life. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how can we promote speech within people with apraxia. But before we get into this video, if you would like to get merch, this one says I am fighting for my voice, and we come out with such fun new merch designs all of the time. You can check out the link below, and be sure that you like this video, and be sure that you subscribe to my channel and join your apraxia family, where you're loved and accepted for precisely the person that you are. So how do we promote speech within apraxia? Before getting into this video, I want to tell you guys some things about apraxia of speech, people who might be new to the diagnosis. So one, people with apraxia, we want to speak. So it's never that we don't have the desire to speak, that we're shy, that we're lazy, all those misconceptions that give me a headache. That's not the case. We have the desire to speak. But physically moving our tongue, lips, and jaw whenever we want to, our brain trying to send our mouth these signals to move those facial muscles whenever we want to is difficult. However, these muscles are not weak. These are not weak. They're pretty strong once they get going. Trust me, I can talk your ear off if I want to now. But it's not that. Two, people with apraxia of speech, we don't outgrow apraxia of speech. I know that the name is childhood apraxia of speech. I don't live under a rock. But what childhood apraxia of speech means is that this speech disorder, speech difference, whichever term you prefer, this has been present since childhood. The person was born with it. This is what makes it different from acquired apraxia of speech that can happen after a stroke, after a bad car accident, or something like that. But without further ado, let's talk about how can we promote speech within people with apraxia. Number one, I actually encourage not to ask a lot of questions. Now, with this being said, I want to first tell you why, because there's a reason behind this. So in between a person with apraxia being asked a question and giving an answer, it can take us even more time to get out our answer, because our brain is formulating the speech, but we know what we want to say, but our brain is of course trying to get on the same page as our tongue, lips, and jaw. We can pause, and it can take us more time. In between these pauses, our anxiety can build up, because people with apraxia, according to research, have higher baselines of anxiety, and we're at risk for anxiety disorders. With this being said, if speech gets more difficult for us, it can make us anxious. If it makes us anxious and our baseline of anxiety is off, it can make future speech more difficult, because people with apraxia have increased difficulties when we're under pressure, stressed, anxious, tired, or even sick. So this is why I don't encourage you to ask a lot of questions. Does this mean that you should never ask your child with apraxia questions? No. I am not saying that whatsoever. But if you can do it more within a casual conversation and such, this can actually be a lot easier for the person with apraxia. My speech now versus like if a person asked me a question and I had to give an answer, it's drastically different. That's how hard it can be for people with apraxia. Number two, I highly encourage, please do not interrupt the person with apraxia while talking. Some people might interrupt the person and they might not even know, because they weren't able to formulate the speech yet. So I encourage you, ask the person with apraxia, have you finished saying what you want to say? Asking simple questions like that, because you might not even know, but the person with apraxia within their mind, they might be trying to prepare their tongue, lips, and jaw to say what they want to say. And they want to move their tongue, lips, and jaw right then. But physically, they might be unable to. This is what makes apraxia such a tricky diagnosis, and this is why I talk such in depth about it, because I sound like a clinician half the time, honestly, on my social media. But it's because it's so complex and such. So I highly encourage, please don't interrupt the person with apraxia while speaking, because two different things can happen. So one, if you interrupt the person and they're in the middle of saying what they want to say, you disrupt that motor plan that they just worked so hard to say. Being interrupted can cause the anxiety to go up. And if the anxiety goes up, future speech will be more difficult. They have to go back on that motor plan that they just created. Or two, the person with apraxia can lose that motor plan that they just worked so hard for, because apraxia is known for inconsistent speech and voicing errors. The ability to say one word, one phrase, one moment, and then the next not being able to say it at all. It gets on my nerves, trust me. 3, please do not rush the person with apraxia. Within our world, we live in a very fast-paced world. We live in a world where people will also adjust the rate of their speech to a different person's. So a prime example of this is that if you go through a drive-through, it's called a fast food place, okay? It's called fast food. It's fast. You need to talk fast within there. Taking more time, people can be like, and I go, oh my gosh, it gets on my nerves every time, because every time I go through a drive-through, I have to be like, I have a speech disorder. It's going to take me time to place my order. It saves the hassle. It saves the time. But within a person that doesn't have a speech difficulty, if they were in that drive-through, they would rush the pace of their voice, because they would need to match the other person's, because then the person would be like, I need you to talk faster. But with people with apraxia, we don't have control over this. So this is not something that we can control. I didn't fill out a form saying, yes, I want to have apraxia of speech, because living with apraxia of speech is, of course, difficult. With that being said, would I change the fact that I have apraxia of speech now? No, because it made me the person who I am, and I radically accept the person who I am and who I was created to be. But it doesn't mean that is easy. Within all of these points, if you see a theme here, the key point is patience. We want to have patience with people with apraxia. We want to not rush them. We don't want to interrupt them. We want to accommodate their speaking style, because they are people within apraxia. People with apraxia, we are not broken. We are not broken people. There's not something wrong with us. We're not defected. We're whole, and we're enough just the way that we are. We go to speech services, of course, to say what we want to say, because of course, who doesn't want to talk a person's ear off? I love to talk now since I can. I couldn't speak until I was 5. I couldn't talk in words until age 8, and sentences until age 12. I went to speech therapy for 10 plus years. I worked really hard to speak how I do now. I don't make it a secret, because a lot of people can see my speech now and be like, wow, he speaks pretty quote unquote good. It's because I always had the desire to speak. I worked really, really hard with it. But even now within my life, I'm going to need people to give me time. I will need people not to interrupt me. I may ask a person, hi, can you not ask me so many questions, because this is going to make my speech more difficult, and I really want to talk to you. Well, this wraps up today's video. It was so great to talk to you guys. I always love filming. I love sitting down. I love filming. I could talk for an hour if I want to, but I would end up just having a lot of mental exhaustion and having to take a nap. But I hope everyone has a great day. If you don't follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and also now we have Threads, I'm not sure how I feel about that so far. It's pretty cool. You can follow me on all of those social media platforms down below. If you would like to get merch, you can get merch from the links down below as well. And I'm also on book tour right now. I'm on the Jordan's World Trilogy book tour about the book series Jordan's World, which is a non-fictional children's book series about my life growing up with my speech diagnosis of apraxia speech. You can check out if I'm coming near a city near you. It feels so weird to say that. I never thought that I would go on a book tour. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching this video. Please keep happy, healthy, and safe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.